Okay, good.
Hi everybody, this is Father Moki Hino coming to you from the chicken coop at Good Shepherd Episcopal Church. Today is Thursday, January 23rd, 2025, and this is a very special edition of Chicken Chat while Dixie and I are in Tokyo and Manila. And this morning we have Chuck Spence with us. Chuck is a very devoted member of Trinity by the Sea and has been the senior warden. He's also president of the standing committee. And this morning we have Chuck here in his capacity of treasurer as a cup of cold water to talk about that ministry and give us some information. So thank you, Chuck, for being with us. And if you wouldn't mind, it would be great if you could just share with us a little bit about how Cup of Cold Water got started.
Sure, absolutely. Cup of Cold Water actually was started primarily by Keiku, who was a member of the church, the Episcopal Church, and came along with the concept of having an outreach ministry where instead of having the unsheltered people come to a location for supplies and food, instead we would keep them nourished and refreshed and provide food and hygienic product by taking it to them, which alleviates the problem that happens when you get like a soup kitchen where suddenly there's a community that of unsheltered people that forms around it and just doesn't leave. So by having the services to take them out to where the locations are, we actually are a much more of an outreach ministry that way.
And I understand that the number of runs during the week have increased. And could you give us just a little bit of sense of what it's like on a typical run, say in Wailuku and Kahului, for example?
Yeah, let me kind of back up and start by just saying that when we started, we had like 80 volunteers at one point, as many as that. We actually were going out on 3 runs a week, and we were servicing a good number of clients, and unfortunately COVID hit and we lost a lot of volunteers. We were down to less than 20 at one point, and now we're reestablishing. We're probably back up to 30 or 35 volunteers. So to go, while we were decreased in numbers during COVID, we had cut back to only 1 run a week. Now we're back up to 3 runs a week again, and our numbers have skyrocketed since the wildfires, unfortunately. We in 2023, we actually, which of course the fire happened on August 8th, so 5 months of 2023 was after the fires. But in that period of 2023, we actually had serviced 4,500 clients. And in all of 2024, we've already gone well over 13,000. So it's just devastating to see the numbers, how they've gone up exponentially.
So like when you go on a typical run, you stop at different places, and what happens? Like for example, when you stop at Kanaha Beach Park or the Salvation Army parking lot or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit different now. In the past, it used to be where, before the county and the state started dispersing people from the locations where they were, it was kind of easy to find these enclaves of the unsheltered people. Now we kind of have to go out driving, looking for them, because they're constantly being moved on from somewhere else. So, and there really is no place for them to go. So, it's a very difficult situation for them. So when we do go out and we do have an enclave of unsheltered people, they'll actually come up and they greet us. They absolutely love a cup of cold water. They love the people that serve on a cup of cold water. They love the Episcopal Church for supporting us and for supporting them. And they actually will line up very politely. They come up, they get greeted, they get hugged, they get prayers if they ask for it. We hand out Bibles, we hand out a package of food and hygienic products. And if they need other supplies, such as t-shirts or shorts or sheets or towels or whatever, we take them from the truck and hand them to them. And they're very grateful. And a lot of the people are known by the people that do the volunteer work on the truck, the run leaders and the run riders. And they're the ones that actually take very good care of the people and know them, many of them by name at this point.
And that brings up an interesting point because, I'd like to ask you, I know that different churches make peanut butter sandwiches. We have donations coming in of cases of water. But how do the t-shirts, the towels, the blankets, those kinds of things, how do you get those?
Thank you so much for asking. That's actually a really strong point. In the past, we used to get so much that came to us from the churches, the various churches, and and also from the hotels that actually would have like soiled sheet, not soiled, but stained sheets that they couldn't use again, or stained towels. They used to donate them to A Cup of Cold Water. Well, now with the fires, a lot of them have scaled back. A lot of the condos are no longer operating the way that they were. Tourism is down. So at this point, we're really dependent upon buying a lot of the supplies, unfortunately. So much of the money that came in for wildfire relief, I should say during the period of wildfire relief, goes back out in supplies to purchase and provide for the people that are out on the street.
Yeah, so that's I think that's a good reminder for people in the community, especially in the Episcopal churches in Maui, to make in-kind donations if that's appropriate, to bring in towels, gently used clothing items, blankets. Those things, of course, are in great need. And I understand that some good news came about in that Cup of Cold Water was able to get an electric van.
Yes. Indeed, yes. That's actually kind of the newest and most exciting thing that we're working on at this point, is that our van now is 11 years old and falling apart. Basically, we're constantly having breakdowns and air conditioning stopping and all that. So the board over the many years saved up money and kept putting it into a van reserve, and we finally purchased an electric van that we're in the process of customizing for the runs and taking it back out. But going back to the point about the clothing, if indeed you have things that you're going through the closet, especially things that people would use that are unsheltered, not necessarily fancy shoes or things like that, but more so slippers or socks or shorts or t-shirts, and you can clean out your closet and donate it through one of the Episcopal churches on Maui. That would be wonderful. We would really appreciate that, because it would help us save money and actually be able to help us to take care of more people for a longer period of time.
And I assume in addition to that, you would also take monetary donations. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Goes without saying.
Yeah, the website is ACCWMaui.org. So ACCWMaui.org, and on there you'll see a donation where you can go in, a donation link where you can go in either through PayPal or through Venmo.
And get miles on your credit card, right?
Exactly, thank you.
And I understand that the van will be housed here at Good Shepherd, and we're figuring out a way to get a solar panel up so that we honor the carbon footprint.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and if I may, I just want to say thank you to Good Shepherd and the people of Good Shepherd for allowing us to make this our home base for A Cup of Cold Water. Much of our work has been done from the supply rooms that have been donated by Good Shepherd. Now we've expanded with the growth of the mission. We now have an office and another storage room that where we arrange through your leaseholder the use of the office and the storage room as expanded space for us.
Yeah, we're happy to help in any way we can, because it's a really vital ministry for the Episcopal churches, here in Maui. And let's break now and continue with Chicken Chat, and we will continue our conversation with Chuck Spence next Thursday. So stay tuned. We would like to take a moment to remember everyone on our pastoral care prayer list.
Ireneo, Eric, Purificacion, Tom A., Dutch, Lisa, Randy, Anthony, Julio, Lydia, Velma, Bill, John D., Paul E., Maggie, Shirley, Cindy F., Dolores, Juanito, Robert, Jacinta, Jose, Juanita, Alexa, Charlotte, Merle, Elizabeth, Ryder, Greg, Al, Ernesto, Randall, Alfredo, Brian, George, Margaret, Cora S., Barbara, Elena, Haley, Charlesta, Brianna, Paul, Dan, Lynn, Tomo, Kathy.
O God, the strength of the weak and the comfort of sufferers, mercifully accept our prayers and grant to your servants the help of your power, that their sickness may be turned into health and their sorrow into joy through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. So from our Book of Saints today on January 23rd, we are honoring Mary Ward, who is the foundress of the Institute of the Blessed Virgin Mary, and she died in 1645. This was during a time when Catholics were persecuted in England, and in the lives of the great founders and reformers of religious orders, there is ample record of the obstacles, calumnies, and persecution they endured as the price for charting new waters. Many of these stories end on a seemingly inevitable note of triumph. The story of Mary Ward, however, reminds us of the many others whose lonely struggles failed to surmount the obstacles in their path and whose dreams had to be entrusted to future generations. Mary Ward's life began against the background of Elizabethan England and the intense persecution of the Catholic religion. Her family was among the landed gentry whose wealth and title allowed some private space to resist the severe anti-Catholic decrees. Her childhood was marked by secret visits from priests, often Jesuits, who had been quickly ordained overseas, smuggled into the country, and secretly passed from house to house to celebrate their forbidden masses. This illicit practice of the Catholic religion was an act of treason, which could mean death not only for the priest but for the sheltering family. Mary was beautiful and clever, and her family urged her to accept one of the marriage proposals that were readily available, but Mary would have none of it. She insisted instead that she was called to become a nun, and this was somewhat a fantastic ambition given that at the time there was not a single convent in England. Nevertheless, with the grudging support of a confessor, she won her family's approval and so was smuggled out of the country to Catholic Belgium. That is Mary Ward. Now, for the chicken of the week this week, everybody, we would like to go back to our archives because, as you know, Dixie and I are actually traveling this week, and we would like to bring back one of the more notorious chickens of the week, George. Curious George, who came up to me while I was demonstrating with stuffed animals how to do your video blessing of the animals back in 2020, and he hopped on the chair next to me and scared the living daylight out of me. So we take you back to George. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much and have a great week.